In the last section, we went over Angular end-to-end tests with Protractor. In this section, we're going to talk about deploying live, starting with this video, which is going to talk about buying our server. So if we want to deploy things that we have on our local machine right now, like we've been coding, and we want to share them with the world so other people can access them, we need to get a server that's hosted in the cloud that has a public IP address or domain name so we can then access it. So the first thing to decide is which server to buy, and the first kind of decision is, do you want infrastructure as a service, which is IaaS, which basically means you just get a box, and it's just kind of like you had a Linux computer, but it's hosted for you. And then there's PaaS, which is platform as a service, and if you just Google that, there's lots of articles that will describe them. Here's one right here I'll click on from Rackspace, and it kind of describes with this little pyramid right here. Software as a service, at the top is, you're not really going to buy a server like that, but that's kind of like people will make those and then give them to like other people, companies, when they kind of bundle everything up for you. Then platform as a service, a popular example of this is Heroku, and that means they'll handle the infrastructure for you, and then you'll just deploy things on top of that. The pro to a platform as a service is that because they manage things for you, they're going to have people who are server experts and admins who are going to be able to do all that stuff for you, but you're not going to have as much root access or be able to access things as easy. There are going to be some things that are a little bit more complicated, potentially, if you want to do stuff down at the server level, because you just won't have as much access. Infrastructure as a service is the bottom level. It's also the cheapest because you're just getting pretty much a raw Linux box. And it means you have root access, so you can do whatever you want, and you won't be hindered by anything, but you also don't get really much support necessarily, and if you break something in your server, it's up to you to fix it. So pros and cons, the different levels. For this case, I would recommend going with DigitalOcean, which is an infrastructure as a service, because that's what I've tested the seed on. It also does work with Heroku, but you have to use Circle CI and some other continuous integration things. I would just start with DigitalOcean, which is one of the more popular IaaS solutions, and it's also really cheap. It's only $5 a month, which is a really good deal. So if you go to DigitalOcean, go to pricing, again, we can see it starts at $5 a month. So you can start here, and if you don't like it, you can quit next month. You could switch to a different server. But I know this will work with the mean seed, and the setup instructions will work with DigitalOcean. So you basically just sign up and you create your first server, and it will give you an IP address and root access. They'll email to you, so you can then SSH into your server. So they have instructions to do all that. Just click the sign up button and go through the process, and then once you have that all set up and you have root access, we will, in the next video, walk through setting up your server.